Welcome to episode 84 of Converse in the Ninjaverse. I'm Will, back from my sabbatical.
I'm Chris, who was not on sabbatical. Yeah, I didn't notice he was gone. Did you?
I didn't know. I had no idea.
I think we did quite all right without him.
Yeah, it was
Whatever.
And I'm Mike. I've been here. I've always been here.
I've always been here. All right.
That's in The Shining. That should be on the horror podcast, not in this podcast.
No, I don't talk about The Shining.
I love The Shining. Sequel. The Stephen King actually wrote a sequel to The Shining.
Ooh.
Did he really?
Yeah, it's called Doctor Sleep.
Oh, Doc, that's the sequel to The Shining?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. See, I'm in the minority. I thought the miniseries of The Shining was better than the movie.
I've heard people say that years ago. I think there was a big push for that a lot of people who were fans of the book enjoyed the miniseries, and there was a lot of people that enjoyed the miniseries. Lately, everything I've heard about the miniseries is everybody thinks it's abysmal.
Really?
Yeah, people hated that miniseries, and they're like, "Oh, it's so bad," and the movie was so good. And Stephen King gets a lot of weird criticism. He has people that absolutely love him, and then he has people that like him but talk constant shit about him.
Yeah.
It's odd.
Nobody's
like, I hate Stephen King. People are like, I love Stephen King. Or people are like, I like Stephen King stuff, but I hate the way he ends things. I hate the way his movies get adapted. I hate the way, people have a PS on everything they're going to say about Stephen King.
I like Stephen King, but...
Yeah, there's always a comma ... and I'm gonna say something negative about Stephen King. But they're fans, which is odd. He has a harsh fan base for somebody who's so popular. I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't even know how we got into that, because we mentioned The Shining.
The Shining, yeah. So.
All right, it's my fault.
It's all your fault.
And The Stand is going to be like an 18-hour movie when it finally comes out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was just talking to somebody about that. The guy I'm working with, who, real interesting guy, worked on some of the New Jersey independent films in the late 90s, when there was that big boom with Kevin Smith pushing for the New Jersey film world. He did Something Dog. Crap, and I'm not going to remember the name of it. Kevin Smith was involved in it. So this is a bad reference and a bad plug. But anyway, this guy that I'm working with, he was associated with those people. I might be able to look it up if I'm getting it. But we were talking about that the Stand remake, and that they're going to do it as a movie, where the miniseries, people told me, was barely enough to encapsulate everything from the Stand.
Yeah, so I don't know how they're going to do it.
I think they're doing it as like a 3-part movie, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, like a Lord of the Rings type of thing?
That might work, then.
Yeah, but still, where are you going to get 9 hours?
Yeah.
I guess 9 straight hours, no commercials.
Yeah. I don't know. That miniseries was awesome also, though.
Yeah. I haven't seen it.
Oh, I found out what I was talking about. It was Big Helium Dog.
Oh.
Was the independent movie that I was referencing.
I have never heard of it.
Nope.
A small movie. A lot of people that were involved in it went on to do other things. The Brian Lynch was the director. He did Puss in Boots and Hop.
Okay.
Later on, and there was somebody else who I'm not going to find her name, who went on to do...
Porn.
Oh, here we go. Lauren Scarafia, Scafaria.
Use it in a sentence.
She wrote Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, Whip It. They all kind of got their start with this Big Helium Dog. Actually, the guy I'm working with kind of felt bad because he's like, I was in this movie, and I worked on this movie, and yeah, I went nowhere with it.
Nice.
And everybody else is like a big deal.
That sucks.
So it does kind of suck for him.
Well, we go from little independent movies to the box office of this weekend.
Yes.
So what happened?
Number one this week was the new Kevin Hart movie, Think Like a Man 2. Or I don't know if it's Think Like a Man 2 or Think Like a Man 2. I don't know.
It's both. It's
It-
two.
it's-
Think Like a Man 2 or Think Like a Man also?
Yes.
Yeah. That took in $30 million for the weekend.
Not surprising. It was like
Not surprising.
Kevin Hart's hilarious, but it's not like there was any. Wasn't opening up against anything huge. So.
No,
I was going to say, I'm looking at the box office, and I'm like, why is my box office so different than yours? Because I'm looking at, never mind.
Yeah.
Yes.
Number 2 was 22 Jump Street.
Wow.
That's out in its second week. Took in $29 million, 111.5 million total. So not a huge difference between 1 and 2.
Okay.
Only $1 million between the two. Number 3 was How to Train Your Dragon 2. That took in $25 million, 95 total. So again, not a huge gap between 1 and 3.
Yeah.
Number
That
4 was
seems like an interesting spread. There are going to be people that Kevin Hart has a huge fan base now, so he's going to get his people that come out.
oh yeah
22 Jump Street being fresh, and that had a huge fan base. It's actually it's 3 sequels in the top 3.
Yeah.
3
number 2s. Yeah, that's
number 4.
so maybe they're right, and just remakes and reboots and sequels are the way to go.
God, I hope not.
Originality.
Number 4 was Jersey Boys. That took in $13.5 million. That is Clint
Opening
Eastwood's
weekend, right?
take on the Broadway play, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I actually kind of want to see that.
I'm hearing nothing but good things so far from some of the personal feedback I've seen from at least friends on Facebook. A half a dozen people or so that I've been in some kind of contact with that saw the movie, loved it. Yeah, it's Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. It's the story of them. And Clint Eastwood directing it. There's not too many bad Clint Eastwood directorial movies.
No. And coming in at number 5 is Maleficent. It took in $13 million, 185 million total.
Fantastic.
Nothing but good things.
That leads me into the next part of this conversation.
I heard nothing but good things about it.
I actually heard really good things about it too.
My wife and I this afternoon went to the movies. Now, we don't go to the movies as often as we'd like to. We went to see Maleficent. I've said it several times on this show that out of all the Disney villains, Maleficent is my absolute favorite. I was excited about this movie. It looked good. I'm not a big Angelina Jolie fan, but she looked phenomenal. I'm like, this is going to be really good. I can't remember the last movie I wanted to walk out of in the middle of.
Oh,
I do.
And this movie did exactly what we were afraid of. I think we talked about it on the episode that Will wasn't on a while back when Gene was on, where they made Maleficent a sympathetic character. They took any hint of evil out of her.
Wasn't that the whole point? Like, it shows how she became evil?
It did, or it tried to, but it took all the evil out of her.
Okay.
Sleeping Beauty was the bad guy?
What's that?
So Sleeping Beauty is the bad guy?
No, the king is the bad guy. Who the king is played by, and I can't remember his name, but the king is the guy that played Murdoch in the 18 movie.
Oh, okay.
I can never remember his name.
Oh, the South African guy.
Yeah. He was very good at it.
Yes.
Angelina Jolie was really good. It was visually stunning. But I walked out of there so angry.
Really?
Because I hate this, and this has been going on for a while now, where they take a character that is evil, and then they give the character a backstory, and they make them a sympathetic character. That's exactly what happened with Wicked. And I Mary, I went and saw Wicked on Broadway. I loved it. I thought it was great, but it takes away a little bit of the bite from that character.
Mm-hmm.
This movie takes any bite out of the Maleficent character.
Really?
she is set up in the original Sleeping Beauty, because we came home and we needed a palate cleanser, so we watched the animated Sleeping Beauty. She is set up in that movie as just being evil.
Mm-hmm.
She is the lord of, the mistress of all evil, I think she refers to herself as.
I thought it was Queen Bitch.
Whatever. But they just took any bite out of her being, and really she, not to spoil it for anybody, but at one point she's like feeling sorry for putting the curse on Aurora.
Oh.
What?
Yeah, I was gonna say, how are they even remotely trying to make her the good guy, or the one that's getting shit on, when she cursed a young girl into a lifelong coma?
The basic idea of this is she meets the king as a young boy when he's a peasant boy.
She was a young boy?
He was a young boy, the king. She was a young when she was a young fairy with beautiful wings and whatever.
So she was a young boy and a fairy.
Yeah. But when the king was a young boy,
okay,
and they kind of start up no.
Okay.
You're taking away my rage, man. Don't.
I'm sorry. I can't help it.
You gotta give me this, man. You gotta give me this. It's been brewing.
I'm saying things to make you unangry. Okay, go ahead.
So they meet as kids, and then become friends, and a kind of a romance blossoms, and then the king decides to attack the not the dark forest, but whatever the other king
enchanted
is,
forest,
where Maleficent, the enchanted forest kind of kingdom. And she mortally injures the king as they're battling, because I guess she's the queen of that realm. Then the king on his deathbed makes a proclamation that whoever kills her will become the next king. So the Murdoch from the A-Team, because again I can't remember his name, in his ambition to be king, goes and drugs her and cuts off her wings. He tries to kill her, but he drugs her and cuts off her wings.
I did hear something about that scene. There was a whole article about that scene, that the way that the scene is presented is kind of a little bit controversial, just because it's almost like she was drugged in like a date rape almost kind of scene, where like she wakes up and she's disoriented, she doesn't know what happened, she's injured, she's like,
and then all of a sudden her wings are gone.
Yeah.
So he becomes king. She steadily falls into this, I'm going to call it pseudo evil, because it wasn't even really evil, it was just kind of angry and
vengeful, and rightfully so, it sounds like.
And rightfully so. And, then she comes in and she places this curse on Aurora, and then the fairies come in, the actual 3 fairies from, that take her into the forest and watch over her for her 16 years or whatever. Okay. But over the course of those 16 years, Maleficent keeps showing up at the damn house watching over this kid. So this kid, when she finally comes face to face with Maleficent, and you've seen it in the trailers, where she's like, come out, I want, you don't have to be afraid, that sort of thing. The girl, Aurora, is not terrified of her. She looks at her as like and she refers to her as her fairy godmother.
Oh.
So through the whole second half of this movie, Aurora is hanging out with Maleficent, and they're, Aurora's dancing around with the sprites and the fairies and whatever in this enchanted half of the forest. And it's just, over the course of this thing, Angelina Jolie's Maleficent is becoming a likable character.
Okay.
And it just, as I said, it takes away from the, why can't evil just be evil? So.
And that's an iconic Disney villain. It's like one of the
absolutely. And that's where a lot of my anger comes into, is that she really is the iconic Disney villain.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole thing happens. She grows up to be 16, goes back to the castle, does the whole finger prick thing, and falls into a death-like sleep coma or
so
whatever.
This goes between like the Sleeping Beauty story and Maleficent's backstory.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
I wouldn't have done it like that.
she'd run into Philip, who is her prince.
Okay.
At one point, and it was kind of that, the sparks fly, and then he leaves. The dude maybe had 10 minutes worth of screen time. So she goes in, pricks her finger into the whole
Fall asleep.
sleeping coma thing. The king is all enraged and is going to kill Maleficent, blah, 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 blah. Then Maleficent realizes that this prince is her true love, and the only way to break this curse, because she cares for Aurora now, so she has to break the curse that she placed on this innocent child. She brings him to the castle. He kisses her. She doesn't wake up.
Stop.
Nope, not stopping.
Wait.
Not
Fine. I'll hold my question until the
stopping,
end.
because not stopping.
Okay.
So the fairies have him, and he's kissing Aurora, and in the background, hiding behind a curtain, is Maleficent and the crow, who she alternates between the crow and a human. He's kind of like her second in command or whatever.
Okay.
He was like the only redeeming thing in this movie. It was kind of, that dynamic was kind of cool. So they're watching behind this curtain, and Aurora doesn't wake up. So the fairies, you're not the one, and they drag him out of the room and close the doors.
Like, get your tongue out of her mouth.
Maleficent comes over and is, apologizing to Aurora and telling her that she's the only person that, she has taken what is left of her heart, and she bends down and kisses Aurora, and Aurora fucking wakes up.
What? Wait. No.
He bends down, kisses Aurora on the forehead, not on the lips, on the forehead, like a motherly kiss on the forehead.
I got that. I didn't.
Aurora wakes no, I'm just clarifying out there for anybody that was like, "Ooh, this is kind of hot."
Yeah.
Like,
No, it wasn't like that. As weird as she can be. Kisses her on the head. She wakes up, and she's all just like, "Oh, fairy godmother." But I skipped over a part. Aurora finds out that Maleficent was the one that put the curse on her before she goes and pricks her finger. So she's mad at Maleficent and runs back to the castle. That's how it all happens. Maleficent kisses her on the forehead. Aurora wakes up, and she's just like, "Oh, hey, everything's cool. I'm sorry. If I found out you put a curse on me, whether you woke me up from the curse or not, I'm going to be a little bit annoyed."
Wait. So, like, at the end of the original Sleeping Beauty, there's a battle, and the prince is fighting a dragon.
Oh, there's a battle.
Okay.
Battle. And in that version, Maleficent is the dragon and is fighting Philip.
Now, okay, so this is like before she wakes up, after she wakes up?
This is after she wakes up. Well, this is the other part. We find out that the king has Maleficent's wings like mounted on this wall, because he was the one that took them from her. They're mounted on this wall.
Like you do.
Mm-hmm.
So the king finds out that Maleficent is in the castle, and he wants to catch her and kill her because that's what he wants to do. So he catches her, and he's about to kill her, and she turns the bird guy into the dragon, which I can kind of overlook,
Yeah.
So the big dragon is fighting and blah, All of a sudden, Aurora is running and goes into the room that the wings are mounted on the wall. And the wings are not attached to anything, they're just mounted on the wall, and they're in a glass case mounted on the wall.
Okay.
They're starting to flap. Aurora pushes the case over, the wings break out, fly and reattach themselves to Maleficent.
What the fuck is this movie about? I'm so confused.
I walked out of and then, the battle happens, the king gets killed, they all go back to the enchanted forest and live happily ever after, Maleficent with her wings and whatever. I was so thoroughly disgusted when I walked out of this movie.
That's
That's a little bit different.
yeah.
And just for the sole fact that one of the things that I liked about that character was, as I've said, she was just evil.
Yeah.
There was no reason, no rhyme or reason behind her being evil. She was just evil. There are other characters in movies that are evil, but they have a motivation. She didn't have any motivation. She was just evil.
Yeah, and I mean, I can understand to a point the events that transpired in her past made her evil. I can get that. But they changed a lot of the story near the end.
Well, they started out and they ended with the story that you heard, that you've been told all these years, is not true.
Okay, they're retconning the whole shit.
Yep.
They're like, this is what happened.
And the Disney fan inside me was just horrified.
You should have known from the beginning.
I knew. I had a feeling, but I didn't expect what I walked into this evening. I was bored most of the movie, and I've never wanted to. I can't remember the last movie I wanted to get up and walk out of. And this was this. I seriously almost turned to Mary and said, "I'm done. Let's go."
Now, visually, it was a good-looking movie.
Visually, it was a good-looking movie. She looked the part.
She did look the part.
She looked the part, and that's why. It's one of the reasons I was excited. I'm like, wow, she really looks the part. It looks good. You know, the character, the crow who she rescues earlier in the movie, by turning him into a man, kind of becomes like her. You know, she refers to him as her wings because she doesn't have her wings anymore.
Okay.
But it was just so completely wrong.
So
it was so disappointing.
So you recommend it?
If you're not a huge Disney fan and you're not a fan of the character, I'm sure you're going to go out there and think, you might enjoy it. You guys might even enjoy it. But I, for one, did not enjoy it because, as I said, she is out of all the Disney villains, she is probably my favorite Disney villain, and it has been since I was a little kid.
Followed closely by Ursula.
Yeah, but I mean, I said to Mary, like when we were driving home, I said one of my earliest memories of a Disney movie is Sleeping Beauty.
Mm-hmm.
Like whether I saw it in the movie theater because back when we were kids, they used to, Disney used to release movies re-release movies in the theater. And I thought she was a great character. She was just a bad guy for being a bad guy, but she turned into a dragon, and she was cool. And they just took so much of that away. They took the bite out of that character. And the fact that she was just kind of like looking over this kid, for these 16 years, and kind of had befriended Aurora, and was looking over her, just goes against everything that character is.
You know what else takes a big bite out of her? The fact that she's going to be a little cutesy character in Disney Infinity 2.0 and it looks like Angelina Jolie.
And that's the Disney machine right there.
Yeah.
You expect that.
She's, I think, the only villains that are in Disney Infinity as of right now are Syndrome, and that's it.
Yeah, but I really have not.
Oh no, Davy Jones.
I really have not walked out of a movie this disappointed in a really long time.
Wow. While you're going through that, I just pulled up American Film Institute's 100 Greatest Heroes and Villains of All Time. And that was a list. I forget what year they did it. Oh, wow.
It's at least 10 years.
Yeah, it's 11 years old. It was 2003 June of 2003 that they did it. So it's 11 years old, but I mean it covers a good 100 years in movies. And they did 50 heroes and 50 villains. And I just took a quick look at the top 10. And top 10 was the Queen from Snow White.
Okay.
Now, they did not do a sympathetic version of the Queen from Snow White. Actually, they kind of did in that god-awful Julia Roberts one. Mirror.
Yeah.
Oh.
And you also had the sympathetic version of the Huntsman with the where Thor was saving
Thor and the Twilight chick.
Thor and the Twilight chick. So they kind of give you the sympathetic version of the Queen. We were kind of given that already. 9 was Regan from The Exorcist. We didn't get anything from that. Phyllis from Double Indemnity. Nobody remembers that movie. Alex Forrest from Fatal Attraction. I'm sure they'll remake that and make her sympathetic one day.
I'm sure that movie's ripe for a remake. You know it's coming.
It really is. It really. And
I think it actually might be.
Do it from her point of view. I'm almost positive. Because it seems like anybody that's a popular villain is going to get like their own movie and get their own sympathetic twist. But I don't see this guy doing it. Number 6 was Mr. Potter from It's a Wonderful Life, who was just a prick on wheels.
He was just
literally.
He was just evil because he was evil.
Yeah,
there were no redeeming qualities on Mr. Potter.
Nurse Ratched from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Okay.
That'd be a tough turn. But then we get to number 4, where I want to say it's the character that kind of started this. Let's feel bad for the villain, the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah, which was the whole Wicked thing, which, as I said, I saw it on Broadway. It was phenomenal. But
and around the same time as that, the other all-time great villain, where they did a couple movies to make you feel bad for him.
Darth Vader. I had said that I had talked to Gene after we got home because we had been talking about seeing this movie for a while, and that's what I had said to him. I said they kind of almost gave her the Darth Vader treatment, like you kind of
I hate you.
You know, he becomes sympathetic. But I mean, at least with Vader, it's not as bad because we knew. It was like we knew that he was, at one point, he was good and he was corrupted.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what that, that story had always been about. It had always been about his redemption.
And even the number 1 villain on this list, there's been some sympathy shown to him over the past years with the past couple movies, and now he's a TV show, which I haven't seen, but Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah. I heard Hannibal's really good, the show.
I've heard good things about it, and I don't know how they're portraying him on it, but he's definitely, he became the anti-hero almost in those
creepy
movies.
As fuck looking, though.
Oh, yeah, he is.
The guy from the show, he's really creepy looking.
But that's, you essentially got 1, 2, 3, 4 I'll say 4 of the top 10 villains of all time, according to American Film Institute, that have been shown as a sympathetic light in at least one version, some of them multiple.
You know, and really with, kind of on the Wicked front, the Wicked Witch of the West, when, as a kid, was probably one of the scariest things ever.
Oh.
Yeah.
She had an army of flying monkeys. She set the Scarecrow on fire. She threatened horrible bodily harm.
Yeah. I was scared
to
to
the
death.
Heroes.
Oh my god, the scene where she sets the Scarecrow on fire fucked me up as a kid. I couldn't deal.
As I said,
oh my gosh, she's such a snow.
I saw Wicked on Broadway. I enjoyed it, but at the same time, it kind of, it takes the bite out of that character a little bit. And I'm a firm believer in why can't a character just be evil? Why do they need some sorry, snobby backstory?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm evil. I'm evil because my heart was broken.
Like the Joker, he's just evil to be evil.
He's evil because exactly. He's crazy.
Yeah.
Sometimes crazy is just crazy.
Yeah.
Like Thanos.
Yeah. So that was my movie going experience of the weekend.
I'm like, what'd you do this weekend? We're going to give you 15 minutes to talk about everything you did.
Well, boys and
girls. I got a little long-winded there, but I apologize.
That's all right. Usually that's Mike's job. It's cool.
Yes. Now it's my turn to run off with the mouth. I went to Philadelphia Comic-Con.
Yay. Now, is this Wizard World?
Wizard World, Philadelphia Comic-Con. Which I've kind of been talking about. They had a great guest lineup. I went 2 days. I went Friday and Saturday. Friday had a good turnout for we were there noon Friday, and there was a good chunk of people there. It was a big room, and you had a nice chunk of people. A lot of kids that are probably out of school. It was moms taking kids, and then you kind of saw people trickling in that, got out of work as the day went on. We stayed, we were there 4 or 5 hours, maybe 6 hours. It was a long day out there. I enjoyed the Philadelphia Comic-Con more than the New York one, because I feel the New York one is starting to suffer what I've heard happen in the San Diego one of the commercialization of it and the out there for the general public. Because the New York one, and I've said it on the show a bunch of times, the vendors they're selling crap you can get at Toys R Us or Target or at Walmart.
Real quick, because you brought up the New York Comic Con,
right.
Tickets for that sold out in less than 30 minutes.
Did it really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know they went up.
The VIP passes and 4-day passes sold out in less than 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Last year they sold out before they announced any guests.
That's basically what happened again.
Yeah. I couldn't even get in last year.
All right, so I just wanted to throw that out there.
That's a whole other bag of disappointment that'll have to happen.
I just crushed my streams live on the air.
Yes.
This is just a disappointment episode.
But what I like about this is it stays, it's like a con that you got people selling comics, new stuff, old stuff. People are putting trade paperbacks on ridiculous sale instead of spending $50 on something. You're getting it for $18.
Nice.
It's good stuff like that. You're getting original artists. You're getting people who are creating original clothing line stuff. You're getting that type of stuff and not the crap you can go buy at the mall.
No, that's good.
Which, just people who are going to fill up and think, they want to sell fake lightsabers to little kids. They're custom-made lightsabers. There's actually a dude selling these cool lightsabers, and one of the handles he had was a Sword of Omens lightsaber handle.
I'd buy it.
I think I've seen this guy. I think I've seen some of his work.
Tell me the eye lights up.
It didn't, but that would be cool. I will suggest that to him if I ever see him again at this. But as the convention went on, and there were there was a good lineup of Walking Dead people. I got Michael Rooker. I got Sarah Wayne Callis.
Nice.
And I purchased autographed tickets when I first got there for Karen Gillian from Doctor Who and Whoopi Goldberg of being Whoopi Goldberg.
Whoopi Goldberg of Whoopi.
Yes. And all those assorted things. Star Trek, if you want to get nerdy about it. Sister Act, if you want to get musical about it.
Ghost, if you want to get ooh about
ooh. It. Ooh, chick flick. Oh wait. Get off my train. But what wound up happening with this show, and Wizard World does this for a lot of shows, and then the New York Comic Con does it too, they do these VIP passes.
Mm-hmm.
Where you spend $300, $400, you get 4 days of being at the show at $30, $40, $50 a day. Each day is a little different. You get your autographs for whatever celebrity that if you get the Matt Smith VIP package, you get the photo op, you get the autograph, you get the whole thing. So we're waiting in line for Karen Gillian, and I talked to somebody to find out how it's going to work because I just had a regular ticket. And they're like, oh, we're still dealing with VIP people. And I said to them, I'm like, well, there's a shit ton of people here, and she's going to do a photo op in about 30 minutes. I'm like, she ain't getting to me. And I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow. I was pretty sure I was definitely coming tomorrow, but I wanted to see what the answers I were going to get was.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we'll refund your money if you're not going to be here tomorrow. And I'm like, well, there's going to be more people, and there's going to be more people with VIPs. Why would you oversell? My concern with what Wizard World did was I felt like they oversold the event of the autograph thing. If they know they sold X amount of VIP tickets and X amount of on-site tickets, general admission tickets, whatever you want to call them, for the autographs, and then they schedule a hour-long autograph session followed directly by an hour-long photo op, and then she's gone for the rest of the day, how are you going to serve 1,000 people, 500 people in 2 hours? Maybe it was 3 hours. Maybe I'm getting my time wrong. But, I kind of sat there and figured out the time that even if she was signing an autograph, the number on my ticket was like 600 something. Even if she was signing an autograph every 30 seconds, it would have taken her 6 hours. Or 5 hours, 5.5 hours. It was, that part of it to me was not planned out well. And at the end of the day, when they were leaving, there were people that had the VIP passes that didn't get their autographs.
Really? That's
coming back another day. There was a guy there with a little kid trying to straighten something out. And, he's got a couple $100 into this thing.
From what I'm hearing, though, Wizard World did this in the Chicago one, too, that it's sad to say that ever since Wizard Magazine shut down, Wizard World just hasn't been the same as far as the way it's been controlled.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. That was definitely disappointing. And if you're going to get a big name like that, you can't oversell it just to get people in the door.
Yeah.
You got me for 2 days at $50 one day, or $55 and $45. 45 for Saturday, 55 for Saturday, 45 for Friday.
That's $100 right there.
It's $100 plus a service charge of $6-7 a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
So it's $116, $115 when all said and done, just for me to show up 2 days. No order, and I've gotten nothing. I've just walked in the door twice.
So you got us bumpers, though, right?
I wish.
God damn it, Mike, you had one job.
And they did bring in, and when the people were getting ready to leave, they had, their volunteer stuff. And then they had, a goon squad of big security guards to chase guys away if it got, if it was going to get aggressive at the end.
Oh.
Squad. Norman Reedus was there. His line was ridiculous.
Of course, the redneck god.
Lauren Cohen was there. Her line was nuts.
I'd stand there.
There were a couple other people that I wanted to get, but I couldn't, those were two people that I was interested in. But I wasn't going to spend my whole day in line spending $50 a ticket on a Saturday. And again, they had VIP packages for Norman Reedus. God knows when I would have got to him.
It sucks, man.
The way I look at it now, if I'm going to do any of these Wizard World shows, if there's that big marquee person I want, I'm going to have to drop $400, $300 to get somebody big like that and have a bunch of passes that I ain't going to use.
That's how they're getting all the extra money.
Yeah.
Especially if you're saying people that had the VIPs weren't even guaranteed to see them.
Yeah.
And that's bullshit, because it's like, if I'm dropping this money on what you're calling the VIP pass or whatever, I better damn well be guaranteed an autograph.
I'm a VIP, bitch.
And not everybody has the ability to be there all 4 days.
Yeah.
Or at least 2 or 3 days in a row to try and get these people's autograph. And some of the big names were only going to be there 2 days. The way they had Matt Smith set up, he was there Friday night. He only did just VIP stuff Friday night. But they wouldn't have gotten to, even if he wasn't, the way Karen Gillian's line went, who was doing VIP and general admission, they didn't get to me anyway.
Well, overall, though, did you do anything fun?
Oh, on a lighter note, I saw some of the people that I'm familiar with, vendors. We met our friends from the TARDIS phone booth at AmazeCon.
Oh.
They actually, what's her name? The who was done up as Amy Pond for the weekend, who was Jessica Rabbit.
Oh, nice.
The first day I got there, and I walked up to her. I kind of walked past her. She stopped me, and she's like, "You don't recognize me?" And I'm like, I'm like, "Oh my God! Oh yeah, I forgot." I'm like, I just, didn't put two and two together.
I was trying to avert my eyes.
Yes. But it was great talking with those people. They asked about you, Chris.
Cool, cool.
And Will, I don't know who the fuck you are.
I'm gonna have to make it to Amazing next year as long as it's not too
You
close.
really are, because
Even if I'm just there for Sunday.
it was a good time. And these, the TARDIS people are people that I've kind of talked to off and on since AmazingCon.
Let's get them on the show.
I don't know if they'd be being on the show, but
Yeah, I mean, what they do is, I mean, they're cosplay people. They design people. They design stuff. It would be cool to get a little bit more footage of their setup and maybe run some promotional stuff with them.
yeah.
But they're just good people. We had a good time just hanging out.
We had a blast hanging out with them at AmazingCon.
With the impersonalness of a big show like the Wizard World show, you realize how much more fun you can have at a show like AmazingCon or Monster Mania. Even Chiller is getting a bit out of hand of the size, for these East Coast shows. But a smaller show, you can enjoy it more. It's more intimate, with a relationship with the people there, with the guests, with everything. You can kind of, it's not hustle and bustle and all business.
Yeah.
And I even had, I'm going to forget the actress's name, but she was the chick villain from Superman 2.
Okay.
And she was the villain in one of the, like, Red Sonja or Conan 2 or one of those films. She was the bad guy in. And, but I met her at New York Comic Con years ago, and I mentioned Chiller to her, because she asked me about doing the shows, and I mentioned some of the smaller shows, and she's like, I really enjoy the smaller shows better because she can interact with people more, and she gets get out there and meet the fans. Angela, my wife, had some real nice interaction with James Marsters. I was waiting in a different line, and she went and got James Marsters, who she's met before at New York Comic Con when it was hustle and bustle and all business. And then she got to talk to him and interact a little bit and find out that he used to go to shows before he was somebody, and he used to dress up in a costume and work cons. And that's one of the reasons why he constantly comes to cons.
That's awesome.
He's a good guy, and he knows where his bread's buttered, and he knows what it's like to be a fan.
He doesn't even look like Spike anymore, too. It's funny.
He does. And now he was promoting, he's got a band. I'm going to forget their name, but I have the flyer stuff downstairs. Maybe next show, or maybe we can put something up on a Facebook page. But him and his son put a band together. He's got an 18-year-old son. And they were playing in a band, and they were playing a couple of times locally in Philly over the weekend after the convention. And they were giving away tickets and inviting people out.
Oh, James Marsters, come on the show. I would love to sit and talk to you for like an hour.
We'll have to find, we'll have to get it set up. We'll have to talk to his agent and come up with some money.
We'll get his people.
We'll have our people talk to his people.
Yeah. We need people.
But in general, bitching aside, I enjoyed the show. I walked around. I got some great T-shirts. I met some great people. I saw some friends from other shows, like I said about the TARDIS phone booth people. I saw the guy from Geek Boy Press, who I wore one of his shirts on Friday, and people kept on telling me how much they liked the shirt. I kept sending them over to his booth. I'm like, the guy's over there. He makes great stuff. He makes a lot of cool different stuff. We promoted comic shirts. What is it? Comic shirts something.
Comic shirt. It's www.etsy.com/shop/comic shirts.
I'm gonna have to link that on the site.
You are.
That's the first time that web address.
You guys have had, Mike and Angela both wore some of the shirts that my wife produces.
Yes.
I want a Deadpool shirt.
You gotta find Deadpool fabric, man.
Deadpool fabric.
But Ange wore the dress on Friday, and people were reacting to that.
Cool.
So we were slinging some business cards and
Nice.
doing some work. One of the personal highlights for me and my buddy Dave, who went out to the show on Saturday, and Dave is a bit of a conundrum in the world of Comic-Con. He is a gym rat, I guess is the best way to put it. He's 5'10", 280 pounds of solid muscle. He looks like a comic book character.
Wow.
He really does.
He was disappointed about, he had considered wearing a costume. He had built himself a Bane costume this past year for Halloween. He got himself a custom-made mask from somebody who does wrestling masks. He got himself a Bane, a real deal Bane mask that he paid real money for. He built the whole wristwatch pump thing with the wire going up his arm to the thing going to the back of his neck. He went old school comic book Bane. And he was regretting not wearing the costume, but he gets great reactions at these shows anyway, just because he's a walking action figure. And he's eaten up all the geek stuff, and he's a huge anime fan. He really buys into everything that we love. He just doesn't have that typical fat guy in a black T-shirt at a comic book show.
Okay.
But me and him, we met the living legend Bruno Sammartino.
Nice.
WWE Hall of Famer. Whole huge story. If you're a wrestling fan, people know Bruno Sammartino. So, got my Bruno autograph. Bruno takes one look at Dave, and it just turns into a conversation about, oh, look at this guy. And he's asking him if he competes. He's asking him if he's a bodybuilder, a power lifter, or whatever. And he's just talking to him. And Dave, is taking the compliments. And, for one of those guys, Bruno Sammartino is one of those guys that the gym rats look up to. He's, at one point the world's strongest man, being the big wrestler, being, in super shape. He was an idol of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bruno Sammartino.
Schwarzenegger inducted him to the Hall of Fame 2 years ago.
Yes, yep. Schwarzenegger, we were there. And for a guy who grew, now at these cons and stuff, my buddy has had the experience of getting compliments from Bruno Sammartino, from Lou Ferrigno. I said all he needs now is Arnold Schwarzenegger to complete the trifecta. And he has all the comic booky, nerdy, geeky muscle guys.
Nice.
The trinity of big, strong geek fandom guys.
Nice.
Overall, this the overall Comic-Con experience, I enjoyed it. I'm going to go to Philly again. I'm going to plan out my autograph stuff a little bit better. I didn't get everybody I wanted. I knew that was a good. Every time I go to one of these shows, I knew there's always a chance that there's going to be some monkey wrench thrown in the thing, that somebody's going to be more money than I want to spend, that somebody's line's going to be long, and I'm not going to spend my time, or somebody's going to flake out and leave.
Yeah.
That stuff happens. And it's part of, anybody that goes to these conventions, they can't sweat it too much. And I saw people freaking out about these things, and I feel bad for those guys because they're not enjoying themselves because they're like, well, I got to get in this line, and then I got to run across the building and be in this line. And it ain't fun. So I try and enjoy myself no matter what. I was disappointed with some things. I was happy with others. It was a positive experience for me all the way around in general. And I'll be back next year the way the Philly show is set up. The New York show, at times I can take it and leave it.
Mm. Which I hear
next
a lot.
Year, if it's sold out already, I think I'm leaving it.
I don't want to go anywhere.
And I would see, with some of the Philly shows, I would consider traveling to other places if, the money was right and the time was right, if there was some celebrity that I really wanted to get. Like Matt Smith did Minneapolis, Minnesota a couple months ago. Maybe that would have been worth going on a trip, going to see him in a smaller market, having the time, spending the money on the VIP. If I'm going to travel, I'm going to be there the whole 4 days. That might make more sense. And that might be advice to give to people if you really want to track somebody down. If you don't want to wait in line 7 days or 7 hours and one day you're going to the con, plan on going a couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of these conventions are that big now that you have to invest that time. When it used to be that if I was waiting in line for 2 hours for somebody, I used to think that was a long time. Now people are waiting 6, 7 hours because they pull these people away for photo ops, they do other things. Maybe this is going to fix itself one day, and there'll be a virtual line where they're going to text you. They're going to text people 100 at a time and be like, all right, get in line, or 50 at a time. So, because I think it hurts the vendors. You know, we've talked about this with other people, you know, some of the vendors, that if everybody's standing in line for 7 hours, if there's 1,000 people standing in line, they're not coming to the tables and buying people's shit.
Nobody's buying anything.
So I'm hopefully I'm looking forward to the day that this part of the convention thing rights itself before it kills what people want to do at the conventions.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
I think that kind of wraps up my like running out of the mouth of Philadelphia Comic-Con. It was fun. It wasn't perfect, but it's still fun. It's like pizza. It's like pizza or a blowjob. Even when it's not that good, it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
Truer words have never been spoken.
I know. I came up with that all myself.
That was good.
That saying before ever.
All right. Well, let's move on to the little bits of news that we have. There's some big stuff. There's some little stuff. But overall, there's some actually pretty good stuff. Guardians is the next highly anticipated movie for me this summer.
Yeah, me too.
Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm sure you need a good, highly anticipated movie after Maleficent.
After Maleficent. Complete and utter disappointment.
A new trailer came out.
If you haven't figured that out already, Maleficent was a complete disappointment.
Yeah, a new trailer came out for Guardians. It makes it look really good, but some news has come out about the after credit scene. There's probably going to be 2 after credit scenes, but the one everybody's all crazy about features everyone's favorite geek hero, Nathan Fillion, who might as well just always wants him to be every character ever in anything.
Yes.
Because he's a good guy. He was at Wizard World. I don't know if you saw him walking around.
I missed Wizard World. I missed Nathan Fillion at Wizard World. I did see his sign, but I didn't see his physicalness.
You didn't see his actual face.
Nah. There are always a ton of Firefly people at these shows.
Yeah.
And especially if any of the cast members are there, you always see a lot of people in different Firefly costumes and outfits.
Them brown coats.
You get a lot of Mal's. You get a lot of the Baldwin's character.
Yeah.
And you get the what I did see this year at Philly was a lot of the mechanic chick. I'm gonna forget her name.
Oh yeah. Kaylee?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so. Kaylee with a K.
Yeah. But there was a rumor going around that he was going to show up in an after credit scene. Nobody knew who it was. Well, our friends at Latino Review, El Miami, I just like saying his name like that, let us slip that he might be Nova, which would make sense. However, he's like double the age Nova is in the comics. So James Gunn actually debunked that rumor. He's like, he is in the post-credit scene, but he's not Nova. I have a feeling Nova is going to show up because of the Nova Corps. They're like central to the story.
Yeah, it kind of has to, or at least a reference to him has to show up.
Yeah. But now everybody's kind of thinking Joss Whedon said, hey, let him be Mal.
Which would be awesome.
That would be awesome. If he's like just playing cards with Star-Lord or some shit like that, that'd be fucking sweet. Kevin Feige, on the other hand, from Marvel, he was talking about the upcoming Marvel movies. He was talking about, we've explored like the high-tech, super billionaire side of Marvel. Now it's time to kind of dive into another section, which is what Doctor Strange is what he's hoping is going to lead into that, more of an occult, more of a supernatural feel for the Marvel Universe. Because right now, we've had Iron Man, we've had just the gods, we've had all that. Now he wants to get into the supernatural.
And I can definitely get behind the Doctor Strange movie.
Oh my god, I mean, they name dropped him in Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Real quick about Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
The Winter Soldier character was a huge costume this year at Comic-Con.
Oh really?
And I saw a couple dozen Winter Soldiers, and most of them were women.
Yeah,
really?
I've seen a lot of sexy Winter Soldiers.
Yes, there was an abundance of sexy Winter Soldiers. There were some okay Winter Soldiers. There was one that was kind of stop the presses
Really?
type of. It was.
Why are there no pictures that we could put up on our site?
There might be. We'll see what happens. I have to check things, but I do have to say this chick. She had kind of like a Miss Marvel unitard thing on, you know, where it comes down into the, and she had the combat pants on, but she was like low riding the combat pants. So you got some like hips going on and like a little bit of like a G-string thing going. What I don't know, but I'm like, oh Jesus Christ!
I approve of all of it. I'm back on track. I totally got distracted.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about Doctor Strange. And it's almost a lock that the villain for the Ant-Man movie is going to be Yellow Jacket.
I'm hearing that. That.
Which I'm cool with. They said that much of the screenplay for Ant-Man is going to be what Edgar Wright has worked on. They're just rewriting a few parts. It sounds like he's still going to get like a screenwriter credit. Or like at least some type of credit in the movie.
Yeah, you know, if they're using his stuff, he should.
So that looks like it's going to be in good shape. And also from, actually no, this one wasn't from El Miambe at Latino Review. It was from, I want to say Nikki Fink, who is a pretty well-known in pop culture, geek culture circles there. I think she used to write for Deadline. The projected DC movie slate has come out.
It had come out, and I haven't looked at it yet because I kept getting distracted. You know, I would see something shiny and be like, ooh. You know, something that's not not that list.
Yeah. So I had it up here, and then it vanished. So I'm going to find it again. Here we go. Got it. I'll look on IGN, because this is where... So, May 2016, we have Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Still don't like the title.
We knew about that.
July 2016, so we're talking a couple months later. Shazam.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Christmas.
Cracking on that.
Yeah. Christmas 2016. Sandman. Which is...
I'd heard rumors of a Sandman movie.
Which is, I think that's a little bit of an odd take on that one, but...
Yeah, Sandman's fairly popular. Well, I mean, he was. I don't know if, you know, he still kind of is. I don't know if how relevant.
He wasn't really a member of the Justice League.
No, he was. It's probably just going to be a standalone thing.
Yeah, maybe. Now,
go
ahead.
There were two DC Sandman, right? There was the Vertigo Sandman.
Yeah.
And there's the Justice Society Sandman, right? Or am I wrong?
The way the rest of the movie slate is playing out, it sounds like it's going to be like the Justice Society Sandman.
Oh, I'd be disappointed.
Yeah. Who knows?
So disappointed if that's the case.
So now, May 2017, so a year later, we're going to have Justice League. July 2017, Wonder Woman. And then Christmas 2017, Flash and Green Lantern team-up movie.
Go home, DC, you're drunk.
But that in May 2018, Man of Steel 2. So Batman v Superman is definitely not Man of Steel 2.
Okay.
So that's going to be maybe like...
It's not Man of Steel 2, but it ain't Justice League 1. So what the hell is it?
And then they're talking
Dawn
about...
of Justice.
And then they're talking about the next thing after Man of Steel 2 in 2019 is going to be the Affleck-led Batman movie.
Batman is going to be like... Affleck is going to be like 70 by then.
It's nice that they might have a plan. I guess. And that there's supposed to be a lot of news coming up at Comic-Con, that they're going to unveil a lot of stuff at Comic-Con next month.
I want them to succeed. I do. I don't want to come across as an anti-DC guy, but that's ambitious.
It is. I mean, considering
That's crazy ambitious.
they're just started filming Batman vs Superman. You have Shazam coming out 2 months later. That's crazy.
That can't be right.
They're like, this is what we're gonna do. Hopefully, it'll happen. I don't know. And in again casting everybody in Dawn of Justice. This has been rumored for a while, but it just started picking up steam again. And Jason Momoa, I think his name is, or yeah, something like that. Khal Drogo from Game of Thrones.
Well, I think we hit on that a little bit last week. That I had heard that he was cast.
Now he's like 95% cast. I think they're trying to hold the announcement until Comic-Con, maybe.
Whatever.
But his hair is looking a little more wavy and a little lighter, so he may be your Aquaman in. Which, if that's the case, okay, if he's gonna be Aquaman,
this movie is gonna have to be 8.5 hours long.
Not even that. Wouldn't it make sense to have an Aquaman movie in that whole lineup I just said? Like, take Sandman out, throw Aquaman in?
You would think.
I think they're scared of an Aquaman movie more than they even would be scared of a Wonder Woman movie. Because an Aquaman movie has a lot of stigma put on it. The Aquaman character has all that horse shit.
Yeah. God damn it, Entourage, you ruined it.
Well, I wasn't even going to. I was going to get to the Entourage thing. I just meant the way that in the comic book world, everybody has been. It's fun to goof on Aquaman. Then the Entourage thing, and Entourage having Aquaman be the #1 grossing movie of all time in their world. And then there's like the water world stigma on it.
Yeah.
That studio execs are probably scared to death of. You put the script in front of them, and it reads too much like Waterworld.
True. Actually, we do have some clarification on what delayed Batman Superman to start. That's nice. This is the first time I've actually seen clarification on it. According to the source, there will be cameos of superheroes in future installments in Dawn of Justice. The cameos include the already known Cyborg, Flash, Green Lantern, as per the report, blah, blah, blah. The problem is, Warner Brothers Pictures was still negotiating with the actors for those cameos and future roles, meaning major contracts for multiple JL character films to follow. The studio didn't want to move forward until they had more of it secure. So that makes sense.
Okay.
Is Crystal there?
I'm still here.
Okay, because you were blurry. You looked like the chick from The Ring for a second.
I kind of feel blurry. Especially talking about this. Yeah.
Now, the other movies that were on the slate for 2016 but got pushed to an undetermined time are Metal Men and Suicide Squad. So there is a gap if you look at the slate from Man of Steel 2 to the Affleck Batman movie. So maybe they'll show up in 2018, 2019. Who knows?
Because we really need another Batman.
Yeah, but you know, it's far away.
It is
and
far away.
There are other movies coming out in between
Theoretically.
Superman and Batman.
Theoretically.
Now, another actor who's throwing his hat in the ring that would like to be in a DC movie is Daniel Radcliffe. I don't know if you guys saw this.
No.
He wants to play Robin to Affleck's Batman.
I saw that.
I think that's good. However, if this is a Batman that's been Batman for a while, as they're saying, I see, and at the age Daniel Radcliffe is, I see him as more of a Nightwing than a Robin.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's Daniel Radcliffe's 24 now?
Yeah. Like, you already had the Chris O'Donnell grown-ass man Robin. It's just, it was a little suspect at that point. But I see him as more of a Nightwing. And there was rumors that Nightwing was going to show up in Batman Superman, even just for, like, in the Gotham City scene.
I'm sure he will.
And there's rumors that there's going to be there's going to be so many people in this movie.
And I expect to see Mr. Gold and Blue Beetle and Dr. Fate and
Zataro.
I'm trying to think of like other DC characters that are just Lobo will probably show up.
Lobo's been rumored for years.
Bloodwind?
Yeah,
Erdogan.
yeah.
Now the other
Azrael will probably show up.
God, don't even. Now we're going to a dark place.
Red Robin will show up. Red Hood will show up.
Red Arrow, Green Arrow, Blue Arrow,
Green Arrow, Black Flash,
all
Green
the lanterns,
Flash, all the lanterns, every lantern corps there is.
Rainbow Lantern,
I
Coleman Lantern.
want to be excited for this movie. I really do.
The other news that's come out from Batman Superman is regarding Lex Luthor. Apparently Jesse Eisenberg will have long flowing locks in the movie.
Okay.
Sandy
Blonde, curly hair. Now,
like clone Lex Luthor back in the
that's what I'm thinking.
Like back in the 90s when they killed around the Death of Superman time?
That's what I'm thinking. It's unless they do like at the end of the original Superman movie, the Christopher Reeve one, when Gene Hackman rips off his wig and he's bald.
Yeah.
Possible.
Yeah, that's possible.
There was also some stories. I'm not super familiar with it. Super familiar in Superman lore, but that something that Lex Luthor did to combat Superman, or something Superman did fighting Lex Luthor, cost Lex Luthor his hair.
Yeah. And I can be down with that.
Yeah. There has been scenes of a LexCorp helicopter. They're saying the office building that LexCorp has like this giant basketball court that's allegedly quote unquote fucking awesome. So I hope he's not like a hipster Facebook Lex Luthor. It sounded like they're just taking social network Jesse Eisenberg and putting
he's like Lex Luthor, the creator of My Friend book
of Kryptonian face. So yeah, that's your headache of DC news for this week. I
want it to work, but I just don't have faith.
We have Comic-Con coming up in less than a month, just about a month.
Yeah, I think so.
San Diego Comic-Con. There needs to be big news because Marvel is going to come out swinging. They're going to be showing Age of Ultron footage. They may have some Ant-Man something. They might have like a Doctor Strange teaser. They're going to come out with guns.
Crying out loud. At this point, they may even have footage from Captain America 3.
They might. So what?
Which is still coming out the same day as
of right
Justice.
Now. As of right now, it is.
I don't see Marvel budging.
So DC has to come out with a plan, and they have to come out with something. A teaser trailer. Yes, we're 2 years away from the movie, but there needs to be something.
No,
there.
I don't even think a teaser trailer works because they did a teaser trailer last year.
So what? Like a screen test? I mean, what do you want to see Affleck moving?
Show me something. You better show me something, because you can't come out with the same shit you did last year.
Yeah, you can't
do a teaser trailer because they already did that. You need to show me something.
Yep, it's time to put up or shut up, DC. It's time. All right.
And I've said this from the start. I think the delay in this movie is probably the worst thing that they could have done.
Oh yeah.
Because it gives people like us an extra year to trash this movie.
And we don't even want to trash it.
We really don't. I
wanted to see this since I was a little child.
I just wish they weren't trying to.
Well, everybody's gonna speculate. Everybody's gonna start talking a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I really don't want it to sound like I'm just hating on this movie for the sake of hating on this movie, but they got at Comic-Con, they gotta come out with something.
They do.
Drive the Batmobile out onto the stage. Do something.
Oh my God! It's just.
Do something.
All right. Now, the last thing I have, and then we'll go wherever we're running a little over, but
a little over.
The last thing I have, we've talked about Ghostbusters 3 for a while. It's on again, it's off again. Bill Murray's involved, he's not involved. There's been a lot of speculation and what's going on. Apparently, it's in various stages of being worked on. Now, Max Landis, who he took to Twitter because apparently he did a treatment that isn't going to be used, or they might use parts of it. He's not sure yet. He took to Twitter and just tweeted the fuck out of his treatment. And it sounds like this may be the Ghostbusters movie that we wanted to see. So, I'm going to read the tweets. You interrupt me if you need to interrupt me. So, it starts here. Haha, a bunch of people asking what my Ghostbusters 3 pitch would have been. I never had a full one, just a skeleton I've goofed around with. My Ghostbusters 3 began in the 20s, with Ivo Shandor murdering a gluttonous associate to protect his cult after he has a moral objection. Shandor tells the overweight man that nothing can stop the coming of Gozer. First, the gate will open in 1984, then again 20 years later. The fat man, who now has all the detail of Shandor's plans, threatens to go to the police, and Shandor poisons him. It's scary, but as Shandor escapes, we see that we're in the Sedgwick Hotel, and the guy we just saw die is Slimer. Cue theme, show title, Poof, Ghostbusters 3. Now, here's the full movie treatment here. The full movie concerns several new teams focusing on one, grown from the Ghostbusters franchise, which is now global and going bankrupt. Ghostbusters have become a parody of themselves. There are barely 12 ghosts caught a year. People have forgotten what happened in New York City. Egon has passed away. Venkman lives on an island. Winston retired rich. Only Ray Stantz is left in charge, and he's a terrible businessman. In an effort to bring back business, an obsessed team whose station has been shut down attempts to summon a minor ghost. Instead, they summon Gozer. So it's up to our hero team to stop the bad team, reunite the fractured franchises, and save our dimension from a very pissed-off demigod. Now, there's a couple of tweets missing that I read from the original tweet. The teams that he had in mind were a team with maybe a couple guys from Parks and Rec. So you had a couple of those guys there. A Rogan and Franco team, which I think would work, and a Key and Peele team. If you had actors from those three stables, I think that would work. I think there's enough comedic talent and acting talent there to propel the movie.
I think it would work. I mean, I think it's a good idea, but some of that stuff, it's kind of a case of been there, done that. You know, you have one, he's this treatment, he's like, the gate opens in 84 and then opens 20 years later. Well, it's 30 years later.
Well,
now.
Yeah.
So, that's already skewed.
I'm sure
that could just be a typo on his part.
Possibly.
But the Ghostbusters being a parody of themselves and people having forgotten what happened in New York, that happened already. That was the plot of Ghostbusters 2.
True.
And we've seen Gozer already. It's like you're just kind of rehashing what we've seen already. I don't think it's a bad idea. But
it's definitely one of the better ones we've seen.
Yeah. I like the idea of the Ghostbusters having gone, and franchised out. And I like that idea, but I think the whole Gozer and the falling on hard times and people forgetting about New York stuff, we've seen that already. I don't want to see it again.
If I'm not mistaken, I don't know if you guys played the Ghostbusters actual game that came out a few years ago.
I started to, and then I got to a point I got stuck at and said, forget it.
Was it the stupid fucking stone cherubs that would kept dive bombing you in the cemetery? Because that's where
I didn't even get that far. I can't get up the watery staircase.
Okay.
Which is like the first level. I'm just like, done.
If I'm not mistaken, some of that happened in the game, the Ivo Shandor stuff, I want to say. I haven't played the game.
It probably has.
But I know at the end, in the credits, there's a voiceover from all the actors, because your main character doesn't talk through the whole game. He's just known as the rookie. That they are talking about franchising out, and they offer them either San Francisco, Chicago, or somewhere else. So, I mean, they already planted the seed because they said this is kind of like a bridge to Ghostbusters 3. So, is it going to happen? I don't know. But after reading that, it kind of makes me excited for a new Ghostbusters movie because it looks like they're going to at least treat the original with respect.
Yeah.
They should.
Yeah.
They better.
It's not like they're rebooting it.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know. I'd love to see like James Franco, Seth Rogen, Aziz Ansari, and Key and Peele on a fucking Ghostbusters team. I think that would be great. So
yeah, I mean, I'm definitely for the original guys handing it off if they're gonna do it, handing it off to a younger group. I can get behind that, but as I said, I like it. It's a good idea, but at the same time, we've seen it already.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see what happens. So, do you have anything else before we go?
Just the unauthorized Saved by the Bell thing.
Oh God,
which is ridiculous.
Let's talk about that real quick.
Quickly. I just knew I just brought it up because I knew you were excited about it.
Yes, I will watch the.
I don't really care.
I'll take a place on my shelf next to Bring It On. All right, so Lifetime is doing the unauthorized story of Saved by the Bell, loosely based on the book that Dustin Diamond wrote. It's not his
loosely based.
Okay.
Dustin Diamond, fantastic.
So like they're saying that it's not because I guess they don't want to pay Dustin Diamond. The cast that they got, because apparently this is going to take the dark side of Saved by the Bell, where like
there was no dark side.
No, like the behind the scenes 3-ways and drug use and all this shit. The cast that they got looks like they just pulled these kids off the street. I've never seen one of them in anything.
I saw a great thing on, I want to say it was Topless Robot, where there was just an article about it, and it showed that picture of the cast, the kids that are going to be playing them in the movie.
Yeah.
And it's like the comment underneath it is like, seeing this picture just makes me think of one thing, and then it's the picture from Spaceballs where it's, you idiots, you've captured the stunt doubles.
At a passing glance, they kind of...
No, not now.
Zach looks like Zach at a passing glance. The rest of them, not so much. It looks like they're not ready for primetime players there.
So we'll be tuned in to Lifetime whenever this comes on.
We'll air it in 2014. That's all we know. It's coming out sometime this year. So being that they have the cast and Lifetime's schedule, it will probably be out next week.
Probably.
Here we go. So it
will replace the Battered Woman of the Week movie.
You know what? They don't show Screech in this picture. The TV movie will feature a group of 6 young actors handpicked by the original Saved by the Bell casting director, Robin Lippin.
Wow.
Who play the show.
Yeah, you kind of got curly hair. Yeah, you could be Screech. All right, you kind of look ethnic. You're Slater.
Oh, this is good.
Dude, you like to be naked? Okay, yeah, you could be the chick that was in Showgirls.
Jesse. Poor Elizabeth Berkley. All right, so yeah, that's coming out. So keep an eye out for that, and I'm gonna watch the fuck out of it.
There was a miniseries on YouTube that I watched years ago called 28 Days Slater. And it was about Mario Lopez, that they had put a chip in his head as when he was an actor that is malfunctioning, and every 28 days he becomes Slater for a week.
Stop it.
I'm writing this down now. 28 Days Slater.
It was, it's silly for the most part. Yeah, it's still up. I just found it.
It's on Netflix?
So it's on, no, it's on YouTube. Because it was like a guy made it in his apartment.
Oh, okay.
The production value is not great, but some of the gags really are. Including, I don't even know if I want to, I guess I can give it away. But at one point, his psyche breaks into 2 physical forms, and Mario Lopez fights AC Slater, Superman 3 style.
Fuck out of here.
That's awesome. I need to watch this now.
Oh, okay. So on next week's show, we are going to talk about 28 Days Later.
And you two have homework as well.
And what was the name of that movie again?
Escape from Tomorrow, which we talked about many, many, many moons ago.
We did.
This show.
Yes.
It is on Netflix, so if you guys would like to, if all you guys listening would like to watch it before we talk about it, that would be nice. Then you
I'm
can join
dying to
us.
talk about it. I watched it last weekend, and I'm dying to talk about this movie.
Yeah, so I'm going to watch it this week. Hopefully we're not busy at work, because I'll watch it at work. So,
You need to be able to pay attention.
I will be able to. So, you know where to find us. You find us on ninjaverse.wordpress.com, facebook.com/ninjaverse, youtube.com/ninjaverse. All of our various Twitters that I linked up, they're all linked on our site now. So Mike Z does tweet all of them. They're all there. Tales from the Ninjaverse is coming back this week. It will probably be up before you listen to this. So Tales will be up tomorrow, which is Monday. So that's going to be on a bi-monthly schedule. Our new gaming podcast.
Maybe even more often than bi-monthly.
Maybe even more often, but we're going to try to shoot for bi-monthly.
We're doing at least bi-monthly, we promise.
Yes. We have
I guarantee there's at least 2 episodes this month.
Yes. We have a new gaming podcast coming out because JD is moving to more of the production side of things for stuff that we can't quite talk about yet. So my first guest will be hopefully this week. You guys are familiar with them. I'm not saying who it is because they tend to be here, then they're not here, then we'll figure it out. But yeah, that'll be that may start bi-monthly and then be a little more often. So we'll figure out that too. So I'm Will.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Mike.
And we'll see you next week.
28 Days Later.
And I'm still pissed about Maleficent.